You have the right to be different. I mean, you can always say no, and it is very important for us to learn the power to say no. And welcome. This is the last word for this week. My name is John Kemani, presenting to you the last word for today. Now, our last word for this week is the word no, and we are saying we want to present three powerful lessons on the power of no. Now, we need to say number one is that it is the most powerful word. No is a complete sentence. When somebody asks you, can you go drinking as a believer? But no is a very powerful sentence. When a member of opposite sex asks you to go out to do sex or to do fornication or adultery, you have the right to say no, and that is a complete sentence. And when you say no, it simply says that you're not subscribing, you are not entitled, you are not following, you are not you don't like what they are saying, you are not party and parcel of whatever it is that they are asking from you. When you say no to a job offer, when you say no to an opportunity, when you say no to a marriage proposal, or whatever it is that you say no, you are simply saying, I have completely disengaged. I am not part and parcel of that which you are asking me. And so one of the powerful lessons that we learn about no is that it is the most powerful word, and we wish that leaders can use this word. When followers ask you to do corruption, say no. When a wife asks you to do something that is immoral, that is ungodly, say no. When people ask you to go out them in a bash to do things that are questionable, say no. It is a very powerful word, very powerful word that I think we need to be using every day. And the second powerful lesson that we need to learn is that wisdom lies in what we say yes to and what we say no to. Wisdom lies in what we say no to and what we say yes to. Because there are moments when we are supposed to say yes, when we are supposed to say no, and there are those moments when you're supposed to say no when actually we should be saying yes to. Like, for example, in this COVID era, when there is a lot of problems, there is curfews, there is slashing of jobs, I mean, there is lots and lots of things that are happening, and the most great temptation is for us, especially as believers, especially as Christian leaders, businessmen, politicians, we can be able to say no to things that we are not supposed to say no to. For example, as a pastor, you are not supposed to say no to the opportunities that COVID-19 is presenting to you. Say no to the virtual space, say no to social media, say no to technology, say no to camera. It is something, you are simply killing yourself, you're simply driving out yourself from ministry. And the government that is saying no to technology or saying no to the opportunities that are coming with COVID is actually committing political and spiritual suicide. It is very important for us to be able to understand that there are some of the opportunities that have been presented by the COVID-19, very unique opportunities that we need to say yes to. And again, on the other, let me say this again. You know, as parents, there is a unique opportunity that is being presented to us. Our kids are at home. You know, there is not much that we are doing. We are working from home. And it is a perfect opportunity for us, that time that we are having with children, to be able to teach them morals, to be able to pray with them, to be able to interact with them in a more intimate levels, in such that we are able to understand. For those of you that are working from home, and again, if you're working from home, you're a civil servant and you're working from home, this is an opportunity that is God is giving you, that you need to create a space and a room specifically set so that you can be able to work from home, and it becomes like your home office. And even when COVID goes or disappears, hopefully it will be able to go. We believe it will go and expire. That you have made yourself an office in where you can be able to work from. And maybe for those of you that are businessmen and maybe you've been rendered jobless, maybe it is time that you explore the virtual space and see the opportunities, see the options that you can be able to use so that you can be able to put bread on the table for the mothers, for the fathers, for the government. We really need to ask ourselves what it is that we can be able to do in the power of now. You know, COVID has told us no social gathering. It has said that it have told us a lot of washing of hands. You know, there's a lot that COVID-19 is restricting us, but we can use those restrictions for our advantage, and that is all what we are saying. But again, for the counselors, it's also an opportunity to be able to get the teams and to be able to get everybody and teach us how to coexist together, how to live together. These are opportunities. And so wisdom lies in what we say yes to and what we say not to. For a minister, for a ghost, for a preacher, for a politician, you know, virtual space is the way to go. You know, you cannot go talking to people physically because COVID-19 does not allow us to do that. And so we are saying the power of no is helping us to explore some opportunities, some spaces that were never open. That is very important. And then maybe the other important thing that we need to understand as the third lesson or in the power of no. So we have said it is the most powerful word. Remember, when you say no to something, you are simply saying yes to something else. When you say no to laziness, when you say no to impunity, when you say no to intimidation, when you say no to imitation, you're simply saying yes to some other things. You are saying yes to credibility. You are saying yes to commitment. You are simply saying yes to Christ. You're simply saying yes to beautiful things in your life. And so it is the most powerful word. And then we said wisdom lies in knowing what to say yes to and what to say no to. And let us explain that a little bit. You know, wisdom demands that you say yes to things that are going to benefit all of us, to things that are going to promote all of us, to things that are relevant. You know, in times like this, we need to ask what is it that we need to stop doing and what is it that we need to start doing. We need to stop relying on physical space because looks like the space is limited, but we need to say yes to the virtual space. So pastors, politician, grabbing yourself a good camera, grabbing yourself a lapel mic, being able to learn a few things on the social media, it will do you the advantage. Okay, and so we need to have wisdom such that you are able to know what do I say yes to and what do I say not to. And then maybe the last thing that we need to say is that your no need to be powerful enough. Your no needs to be strong enough. If your no is weak, then you're going to be a waffler. You're going to be somebody who is a yes, no man. You're going to be a chameleon. You're going to lack direction. You're going to lack a focus. You're going to be somebody who can be switched all over the place because your no is not a strong no. Now let's examine some few people who had a very strong no and what actually it did for them. Now look at Daniel. His no was so strong that he said, I am not eating this food. Yes, he said yes to the political office. Yes, he said yes to the pagan names. Yes, he said no, yes to the pagan education, but when it came to food, his no was so strong that even his brothers Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when they were asked to bow down to the golden idol that King Nebuchadnezzar had said, their answer, their reply was N-O. They were thrown into fire. Did they burn? No. Why were they willing to go into fire and burn themselves? Were they martyrdom seekers? Not necessarily. It's because their no was so strong. And we're simply asking, is our no against corruption strong? How strong is our no against a culture of impunity? How strong is our culture? How strong is our no against things like impunity, against corruption, against family suicide, against the social ills that are happening in our society? We need to have a strong no. Again, somebody else that said no is David. When he went into when he went into the valley and found Goliath actually shouting and intimidating and abusing the armies of living God, he said, who is this uncircumcised guy? In other words, he was saying, how comes that this guy continues to taunt? How comes that he continues to mess the armies of the living God? Why should he continue treating the armies of the living God with contempt? I say no to this. And when he said no to that, he was able to rise up against discouragement from his brother, against mockery and despise from his boss, against intimidation from Goliath himself. He said, this is a no. Goliath cannot continue living. He must die, because whatever he is doing is wrong. And so we are asking, our no must be strong enough. It must not be weak, because when our no is strong, we are able to have convictions. We are able to focus. We are able to stick and be able to actualize whatever it is. Now look at somebody else. So we have talked about Daniel, we've talked about David, who actually said no. Look at Jesus Christ. When he entered into the temple and found the money changers and the dirty business, the unscrupulous business, the abuse that they were doing against the temple of the Lord, what did he do? He said no to that, and he actually overturned the tables and chased them away. Why was he able to do that? Because for him, it was a capital no. It was actually a no for him, and he would not allow anybody to change the house of prayer to be a house of robbers or den, if you like. And we're asking us tonight on the last word, friends, whether you are Kenyan or whatever nationality that you come from, we are simply asking us, is our no strong enough? Pastors, are we strong enough? Do we have a strong no that we do not allow politicians to come and occupy the pulpit and peddle politics and divisive politics or in our pulpits? Again, politicians, do we have the discipline that when we go for burial, that we only talk, we only celebrate and mourn and comfort? We celebrate the dead, and we comfort the living. Instead of pouring out divisive politics. Is that our no? Can we say no to the temptation to pour out politics in burial places? Again, let's talk about businessmen. Do we have a strong no that actually stops us, that actually makes us not to sell fake products at exorbitant prices? Can we resist the temptation to sell fake products at exorbitant prices, or actually creating artificial shortages so that we are able to maximize profit? Are we willing to say no to malpractices, to bad practices of business in the name of gaining profit? We need to say that our no towards doing that which is wrong, that which is evil, that which is not godly must be strong enough, because it is only men and women who are able to have a strong no against ills, against bad things that are going to survive. Now, finally, our last example that we need to give is the girl who was living at Naaman's house. How did he do it? For her, when she saw that her boss was sick with lepers, she said, if only my master. She was not afraid to say yes, to suggest a solution to the trouble that her boss was going through. She said not to fear, and she spoke her convictions. And through her courage, through her refusal to bow to fear, to the idol of fear, she was able to save Naaman, and not only to save, but she was able to introduce a pagan civil servant to God. And Naaman actually ended up respecting the God of Israel, and again actually being healed. It was a double blessing. And so in our places of work, we must be able, we must have a strong no to the ungodliness, because every moment we've said, when we say no to A, we are simply saying yes to something. And we want to thank the many of you that are following us, and we want to ask you a very simple question. How strong is your no? You are arrested by the policeman. How strong is your no towards corruption? And by the way, do you know the greatest yes we can say in our lives is to say yes to Jesus? Because the moment we say no, we yes to Jesus, we are simply saying yes to Jesus Christ. When we say yes to Jesus Christ, we are saying no to the enemy. Let us use the no in our lives. No to bad things. So just a quick recap. Number one, no is the most powerful word. Use it in your life. But again, we are saying wisdom lies in how we use our yes and our no. May God give you wisdom to know what to say yes to and what to say no to, and when to say yes and when to say no. Okay? And then number three, we've already said, is that we've said it's the most powerful word. We need wisdom to know when to say no to, and then when we say no to something, we are simply saying yes to something else. This is John Kimani. Thank you, Tarus Moses Munyandave, and who else? And my daughter Alice Ndegwa, and who is this? And Stephen Thiongo, and somebody of John who are watching. Thank you very much. And by the way, please follow us this week. We have a lot of things that we have lined up for you. On Tuesday, we shall be doing the Bible Speaks Today on Mark chapter 9. And then on Wednesday, we'll be able to go to Marketplace, where we are going to continue learning lessons on how we can maintain our, how we can be holy in an unholy world. And then on Thursday, we shall be able to differentiate between a boss and a leader, and ask, are you a leader or all a boss? And we say that we need leaders, we don't need bosses. So keep tuned up. But again, don't forget to tune tomorrow at 7:30 at Nice TV, where we show at a program that we call Konga Shautogoria, where you shall be able to teach us about difficult people. We shall be talking about pessimists and con men, and actually crybabies, chronic complainers. And by the way, do you know that we elect chronic complainers, mistaking them for leaders? If you want to know that, please join us tomorrow. My name is John Kimani. Pastor Jeremy Mwash, thank you very much for joining. Until tomorrow, 7:30, keep tuned. Remember what we always say here in Awezekana.